wrongdoing?
What was the wrongdoing?
What's the wrongdoing? All right, number one, it's paying $130,000 to a porn star to keep her quiet. That's to try to protect your campaign. Can we at least agree that's wrong?
That's not illegal. This wasn't illegal. There's nothing illegal about paying hush money for an NDA. It's done
There's not.
all the time.
But when you're doing it to protect your campaign, it is. That's the difference.
No. What law are you citing, Dan?
Campaign finance laws. You're not allowed to give the...
You don't know what you're talking
about.
What
are you talking?
You're wrong of the campaign context.
That's not the standard. The standard is substantiality. It's not. It's substantiality.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
You're wrong.
Okay.
No, it's not.
I guess we're going to have to agree.
That was Dan Abrams and Megyn Kelly going back and forth about the Trump verdict. Abrams was defending the prosecution, while Kelly was pointing out the legal issues when it comes to politically prosecuting your opponent. It should be noted that both Abrams and Kelly are trained lawyers, although as far as I know, neither one have really practiced in a long time. But considering that they both have an educational background in law, and they talk about this for their job, both of them should be pretty well versed when it comes to this case. For the most part, their interaction could be described as arguing over legal jargon. While you watch this clip, keep in mind this is how Abrams was talking about this case while on another network.
But on the second question of the jury instructions, there's some real appellate issues here that are serious questions about why didn't the defense even know what the charge was that they were going to be applying, what law that was going to be applying.
Which of these three underlying laws?
Exactly. And so there were a lot of questions for the defense going into this, I think, as they were making their closing arguments, not even knowing sort of what the law that they were going to be battling over was.
So it's obvious he sees legal issues in the case, which is probably why he tried to bring up the morality when it came to this interview with Kelly. From everything that I've read, it seems that Kelly is in the right on this one, but I'll let you decide for yourself. Here's the clip.
I believe this jury had no choice but to conclude as it did because the judge led them right to the fountain of guilt and said, drink, horsey, drink. So they did. So I don't have much disdain for the jury or its decision because they followed the instructions that this judge gave them. But I have a lot of disdain for this judge, and not to mention this prosecutor. And I think they were working in concert the entire time to do one thing, which is fulfill Alvin Bragg's campaign promise to get Trump. And I have to say, I really disagree with what Cuomo said a minute ago, which is Trump only has himself to blame for this particular problem. That's just not true. That he has a partisan hack of a DA to blame for this particular problem, a DA who doesn't want to prosecute any crime unless it's by a man named Trump. He had the number of legal hoops that he had to jump through in order to bring this case in the first place were too numerous to outlay on this brief program. And he had a judge who allowed it at every turn to the point where, I mean, the past couple of days, Dan, I've been talking to Garagos, Dershowitz, Mike Davis, Dave Ehrenberg. These are guys on all sides of the political aisle, not just lefties or righties, who still are confused about exactly what it was Trump was charged with. So the judge was complicit. And it was not a valid claim, not from the start. And it certainly wasn't Trump's fault.
You're separating out almost the moral from the legal. I mean, Cuomo was making a moral point, I think, to some degree, which is that there's wrongdoing here, right? There was definitely wrongdoing. Whether it should have been a crime is a separate... What's the wrongdoing? What's the wrongdoing? All right, number one, it's paying $130,000 to a porn star to keep her quiet. That's to try to protect your campaign. Can we at least agree that's wrong?
That's not illegal.
I didn't say it was. No. I just said moral versus legal.
How is it wrong? Are we talking moral?
I made it clear. I'm making it clear. For a minute, I'm talking about morality versus legality, right? There's no doubt that he engaged in...
All right, I'll tell. Here's my response to that. And I said this on my show the other day. I don't know what kind of weird marriage these two have. Same as I didn't know what kind of weird marriage Bill and Hillary Clinton had. So I don't know what their covenant is in terms of what he's allowed to do on the outside of his marriage.
Again, I don't mind the sex,
but when you're paying $100,
but I'm not talking about the sex. I'm talking about the $130,000 to keep her quiet to protect his campaign.
Immoral. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing.
Really? Okay. Look, again,
if somebody runs for office, they just lose the right to have any privacy. They just have to let us see all of their dirty laundry from the moment they declare forward, or somehow they've done something morally wrong or legally wrong.
When you're doing it to protect the campaign and you are spending money on it, then now I'm going to switch back to the legal. You are now crossing the line into legal problems. Right?
You aren't. That's absolutely not right. Incorrect at every level.
Again, the idea that let me back up. And you don't think he falsified business records either?
I don't know what he did. I don't think he wrote down.
What does that mean? We just had a whole trial. We heard every detail of this. How can you not know?
Let me answer.
Please.
Let me answer. I don't think he wrote down hush money payment to Stormy Daniels. Nobody who pays hush money would write down such a thing. I think he wrote down, or someone at the Trump organization wrote down, legal expenses from the drop-down Adobe menu. And that made as much sense as anything else because hush money wasn't an option. He was paying his lawyer who had made the payment to Stormy Daniels, and he was, I believe, reimbursing her, though he denied that, reimbursing him, though he denied that on the stand. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. I think you pay your lawyer money because he outlaid money for you. You could easily classify that as a legal expense.
No matter what it's for, right? Even if it's illegal conduct, you can just put it's a legal expense, right?
This wasn't illegal. There's nothing illegal about paying hush money for an NDA. It's done
There's not.
all the time.
But when you're doing it to protect your campaign, it is. That's the difference.
No. What law are you citing, Dan?
Campaign finance laws. You're not allowed to give the...
You don't know what you're talking
about.
What
are you talking?
You're wrong.
Explain to me.
Let me explain to you.
Tell me what I'm getting wrong. Tell me what I'm getting wrong. When you're spending $130,000...
I'll explain.
Go ahead.
I get it, because you're saying that there are limits to the campaign contributions somebody could make, and this has exceeded them, and then they hit it. I understand. That's his theory. However, this has been wrong from the start.
Yeah.
It does not amount to a campaign contribution if it is the kind of payment that could ever be made outside of the campaign context.
That's not the standard. The standard is substantiality. It's not. It's substantiality.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
You're wrong.
Okay.
No, it's not.
I guess we're going to have to agree to
There's been Supreme Court precedent on this. Talk to Brad Smith, who was the FEC commissioner.
That the standard is substantiality. All right.